If you don't have that drive to pursue music, you're not going to make it.
Welcome to Griffith Business Students Podcast. This is your host. My name is Ju.
And my name is Victor.
We have, another amazing guest. This is my connection that I've known for quite a long time now. And she helped me out heaps. But she's such a dedicated business professional now and also a startup owner. So I'm excited to have her as our guest. Her name is Kirsty.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Could you give us a little bit of rundown of your background? So I guess in terms of what's your connection with Griffith and how you have,
Developed your career.
Yeah.
Why you're here.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I am a Griffith Pass student. I graduated in 2016 from the Bachelor of Popular Music, RIP. It no longer exists, unfortunately, because it was the best 3 years of my life. We had so much fun making music. We were in the studios 24/7. So, yeah, it was a great experience and time in my life being here at Griffith on the Gold Coast campus. Back in the day. It's a long time ago. It's almost 10 years. Next year it'll be 10 years since I graduated, which is wild. But other than that, I've done a master's in music business, which I graduated in, it was mid-COVID, so I think it was 2021. Mm-hmm. And I have created a company called Connection with a K, Artist Assistance, where we work with emerging and grassroots artists all over the world, but we're starting on the Gold Coast and expanding from there, where we just help with whatever they need help with. So project management, release cycles, tour management, tour planning, all of that. So yeah, it's lots of fun, and we also work with other companies and do short-term project management for companies in the creative sphere as well.
And are you guys more focused on local artists or open to anyone around Australia?
We're open to anyone, so it doesn't necessarily have to be Gold Coast. We work. We're actually talking to people over in New Zealand at the moment, and we have some contacts over in LA. So we're trying to expand the company. It is based on the Gold Coast, so we do pride ourselves as being a Gold Coast-based company, but we service internationally.
Awesome.
And the fact that you only started last year.
Yeah, so it's only been 3 months.
Oh,
it's wild.
Hey, it's great. Good for the biz.
There's obviously a need for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I guess your schedule is just packing right now, isn't it too?
Yeah, my partner laughs when he looks at my calendar because it's just colourful. It's like a rainbow of opportunities. So, yes.
Well, we're really grateful for your time. Obviously, because you, as a startup, I can guess how much work is involved to grow your brand and grow the business. So we're really thankful that you're here. And I guess this is more of a time that I want to really ask you about your personal journey and like the way that you progressed to the place where you're at now, and completing your master's, which is also already a huge deal, and progressing from that to your professional career and the startup. I want to really get into that. So could you tell me more about like your journey that started, why you were interested in music and even going into business?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so back in the day when I was a young high school student, I really didn't enjoy high school. So I think I knew by year 9, year 10 what I wanted to do. And at the time, there wasn't opportunities like trade colleges or anything like that where we could just leave in year 10. So I kind of just like pushed through when we got to the end of high school. And I remember sitting down with the careers counselor and the head of academics in, I think it was year 11. And I said, okay, because this is when OP existed. So, so that's a time ago. Yeah, you feel me? So I sat down. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rig the system.
Yeah.
I basically said I'm dropping this subject,
Yeah.
this subject. I'm gonna drop to this maths and then this music and this English. And I basically had the cruisiest year 12 ever.
Yeah.
But it made sure that I could focus on getting into uni. So I wasn't putting pressure on myself as in like got to get straight A's, got to get straight B's, all of that when it comes to like the subjects that I knew that I was good at.
Yeah.
Because it came naturally because I had the time to invest into it.
Yeah.
So the head of academics is like, that sounds about right. And I was still OP eligible with
Yeah.
dropping like multiple
Yeah.
units, but I ended up just going straight into uni through an audition and passing English because I knew what my prereqs were.
Right.
So I focused on those to
Yeah.
make sure that I get into uni.
For sure.
Yeah. So from that, sorry, what was the question?
So basically, we're asking you about like I guess your personal journey, and then deciding from studying music,
Yeah.
I guess, and going to business.
Yeah.
I guess it's just sharing a little more your intake on how you have progressed, like what your learning curves were, and what kind of things interested you with music as well as business.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I started
Yeah.
studying music as a
Yeah.
musician. So I am an artist myself, so I did all the work in recording and learning the industry from an artist point of view.
Yeah.
And I noticed, about second year of uni, I was like, there are a lot of artists here.
Yeah.
I'm one of about 50 students in my year.
Yeah.
How am I going to set myself apart and make money in this music industry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from then, I decided to start a boutique booking agency, which was at the time called Connection Artist Assistants.
Okay.
It didn't last very long, but at the same time, it was making money, and I worked in music industry full time for 2 years
Yeah.
off of that
Nice.
one
Wow.
little booking agency.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
have you been what made you go study music? Did you since you're young, did you always did you play any instruments, and what made you
Yeah.
go do a degree in music?
Yeah, well, I grew up doing all creative things. So I actually did 15 years of dance, and
Okay.
so I was a dancer and thought I would go down that route. But I just fell in love with music, and I actually was part of a youth band, and that kind of inspired from then going into the music industry because I just fell in love with like the passion and the I guess the connection that you can have with a crowd. And music is an international language, and I think that's talked about a lot, because you could hear something beautiful in a completely different language and be like, hey, I resonate with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's what really stood out to me and what made me want to explore the music industry. And from then, the passion just grew. So I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
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 I guess for students who's listening, I guess music is a quite a resonating factor for a lot of this generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually speaks to a lot of people. So I guess that creative outlet is definitely really helpful for everybody to pursue. And I guess that's where like the passion, the real drive comes in. And then that's really interesting about being in a music business, because you're talking about this creative outlet, and then now like you want to kind of survive off of that creative outlet.
Yeah.
So I guess that's an interesting topic that I want to really get into is like with that, I guess, stretch of being an artist, and now that you've kind of learned what kind of music that you want to do and what kind of money that you want to make, what kind of path. So obviously like there would have been a decision making process. There would have been something like how can I actually navigate? Do I like this? Do I like not? Do I like that? I guess that's something that I want to really ask you about. Like, what was that process like? And in your personal experience, or it could be, this person was nasty. this person was no good, or something like I really like the way that it made other people feel.
Yeah.
How was the experience for you?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about being part of Griffith as well is we had a chance as students to mark each other's major project,
Right.
which sounds absolutely scary and terrifying.
Yeah.
But it was great because we learnt to appreciate all genres.
Yeah.
So I think from first year, I had this appreciation from like for all genres, including like from progressive rock to all the
Yeah.
way to like folk and
Yeah.
everything in between, rap. Like,
Yeah.
so you get to learn how things are made from people who are passionate about that individual style of
Yeah.
music. So I think from that, I kind of worked out what it was that resonated with me as individual acts, and it was passion.
Yeah.
So if you have the drive, it doesn't matter if you're the most talented person in the world. If you don't have that drive to pursue music, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, it just means that you're going to make some cool music and then be like, oh, I'm bored. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to try something else. I'll go get a job at Woolworths.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to have that drive in order to survive the music industry. And a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So that just is what it boils down to. So, yeah.
So I guess like Gold Coast obviously is where you're based, and you have quite I guess spread your wings
Yeah.
for quite some time now. So how would you say the Gold Coast music network is like the
Yeah.
environment?
Yeah, well, it's been growing for like I remember I guess starting out in the music industry and there was 3 pivotal women who were basically the furnace for the Gold Coast music industry. That was Chloe Popper, Amanda Gorman, and Samantha Morris, and they started a cultural magazine called Blank Street Press. Blank Street Press became basically the go-to music source
Yeah.
for the Gold Coast. So it had a gig guide in it, it had like features on local musicians, all of that. From that evolved the Gold Coast Music Awards. And since then, we just had the 10th Gold Coast Music Awards last year.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty wild. And I had the opportunity for the last 3 years before this year to
Yeah.
work for the Gold Coast Music Network, the owners of the Gold Coast Music Awards. And it was such an opportunity to, one, build my connections, but also invest into the local scene and see, you know, the up and comers. And it was really great to see that it's so healthy.
Yeah.
There's so much talent coming out of the Gold Coast, but not just the Gold Coast, but the
Yeah.
East Coast, like region of Australia. We're seeing some really cool stuff. The Sunshine Coast has just like started up their own music industry
Yeah.
kind of membership thing.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that,
Yeah.
you know, people are taking this concept of building a community
Yeah.
and then investing into it. And it's all based around music or, you know, the creative culture.
Yeah, being involved in Gold Coast Music Network one time
Yeah.
as a volunteer as well as an attendee.
That's right.
Like
yeah.
I really enjoyed, being in the presence of people who was full of passion about their music, but
Yeah.
also about the music industry.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's very important to really get yourself out there. If you're chasing that dream, this is the person right here.
It's actually really cool because
Yeah.
like you would have probably noticed from that night as well that, you know, you'll have a band talking about their music and how passionate they are about theirs, but then they'll talk about their mates and how passionate they are about their
Right.
mates'
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
So you'll go to a gig and see 5 other Gold Coast bands there supporting that Gold Coast band. So it's a beautiful community, and it's so easy to be a part of. Like if you hit up the Gold Coast Music Network, they can put you in contact, and they host hangouts and like mingles throughout the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, from that has stemmed so many opportunities and created platforms for music festivals and all of that through the Gold Coast. But they've got some national
Yeah.
reach at the moment.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And going back to your professional career,
Yeah.
when you started your first company, you said you managed to work 2 years full time
Yeah.
in the industry. How did that experience shape the way you're approaching this new business that you're starting up now?
Yeah, I think having done it before gives me a bit more, I guess, confidence going
Yeah.
into this new venture. Like, it's the same name for the company, but it's completely different what we do. I wanted to step away from booking because there is a connotation in the music industry that booking agents are after your money and they're the middleman that doesn't need to be there, which
Right.
in some cases is true. So watch who you work with.
Right.
But you know, if you can build like a reputation as, you know, that you are authentic, that you are transparent, that you're going to do what's right for who you're working with, it can take you a long way. So I think coming into this new venture, it's been kind of like taking, you know, the good and the experience from that first take, I guess,
Yeah.
and then using it to my advantage in creating a sustainable pathway so that, you know, there is growth in this company and that, you know, I can eventually bring on some help and
Yeah.
we can grow this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think growing as something new takes a lot of steps.
Yeah.
So I guess for startups is you know, there are a few things that I can think of on top of my head is like legal reasons. There's the profit, and then there's management,
Yeah.
and there is a lot of admin work. So in these things that you have on right now, how do you find your biggest struggle is, and how do you find time to do those things and manage them?
Finding time to do that.
Yeah, right.
What is time? I think one thing with startups is I think any other business owner will tell you that you just have to make time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen all straight away, and you need to be careful, especially like as I said, we are 3 months in. We are still new. And I'm trying to work out where our cash flow is, you know, where our profits and our losses are. So I think, you know, it's being wise in the decisions and mapping out a time frame as to when to invest and when is, you know, a good time to, like, I don't know, bring someone on to help me out. Like,
Yeah.
but there's also other opportunities
Yeah.
for, like, one thing that's been really cool is like the Gold Coast Council offer professional placements.
Yeah.
So that's something for me as a business owner where I don't have to fork out the money to hire someone, but I can apply and be a host and take on someone who the council still pays. So it's still a paid position, but I get the help that I need and
Yeah.
they get some learning experience and get to learn the insights of the music industry.
And that's critical, is
Yeah.
that learning experience, because as graduates, like there's a experience element that is lacking well, as graduates, and a lot of business that we would apply for requires experience.
Yeah, 100%.
So I guess that is very critical to, I guess, our pathway is having someone who can teach us
Yeah.
and learn the ways, and so that we can actually better prepare ourselves for our future.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, I mean, creating internship opportunities from startup companies is great because it benefits both. But also, like, you know, talking to your careers counselors and stuff, you know, you have so many resources at uni, so utilize them.
Yeah.
You know, if you have an internship opportunity, talk to your advisor and
Yeah.
maybe take it, you know,
Yeah.
like get that experience under your belt before you leave, because that's what's going to create those opportunities. And you don't want to, I know like so many people who I went to uni with, they're like, great, we've got the music experience, we've done all the recording, we're ready for our record deal. Doesn't happen like that. You know, you have to like work hard, and you know, especially like in music, you could be a muso, you could be super talented, but usually you have to be wearing multiple hats to actually earn a decent income. So like, I mean, a lot of musicians play in other bands, so multiple bands as session musicians,
Yep.
or they do management, or they do events. They do lots of different things, and it's so important as a music industry worker to be able to wear multiple hats in those industries. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something that our students would like to know about entrepreneurship. Who wants to chase that pathway in startups? I think that's a great opportunity to learn more and give yourself a bit of a grace time, really,
Yeah.
to really get into the industry that you want to work for. You gotta allow yourself to really do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because technically, like, that's where you really build your experience and go somewhere, really.
Yeah, and you might not like it too. So it's a good way to work
For sure.
out whether or not you actually enjoy what you're studying
Yeah.
outside of studying it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, internships are a great way to test the waters before you're in the big bad world, and you get stuck in a job, and it's like, I can't leave because I'm getting paid, and
Yeah.
you know, it's a really great opportunity while you're studying, while you've got that safety net of uni, to just test the waters. If you like it, great. You know that you're pursuing that, and you're probably more passionate because you did that. Otherwise, if you don't enjoy it, you've still got time to figure out what it is that you like and what you don't like. So, yeah.
To touch on your business right now.
Uh-huh.
So, what are the current projects that's going on?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So at the moment I am managing 3 artists. So I've got 2. One whose single comes out February 7th. So make sure you go and have a listen to Albii, Albii. She is like Billie Eilish-esque. So if you love Billie Eilish, you'll love her. She's a bit cheeky. She's a bit fun.
Yeah.
So much, like, it's a great driving track. So if you're like,
I've seen her stuff. She's awesome.
she's so fun.
Yeah,
yeah. So make sure you go and listen to
Yep.
Albii. Her song is called Hold On Psycho, about a crazy ex-girlfriend. So, yeah, if that resonates with you, go listen to that. I'm also working with an artist called Ollie Toohill as his manager, and he is like, what does he call it? Heavy acoustic music. So it's like he can be a one-man band, or he can be like a prog rock musician,
Right.
and he's everything in between, and he's got amazing songs out there.
Yep.
He's currently in the studio recording a new track, so I'm helping him project manage the studio time, but also we're working on a release cycle. So we're working out when we're going to release, all the pre-saves, all of that. So that's what we're working on with Ollie. Then we've got Parker, who I'm his Australian manager, and he has a deal in the US with another record label. And he is just absolutely killing it at the moment. He's got some incredible music. We're actually about to announce a collab that should be coming out in March, but I can't say too much about that because it's all in deals at the moment. But definitely check out
Great.
Parker. He's
Yeah.
written this song called Local Paradise, and
Yeah.
it's probably one of my favorites.
Great.
It's all about the Gold Coast. So if you
Oh,
know
really?
the Gold Coast,
Wow.
talks about the bus tracks, and it talks about Palm Beach and
Hey, if this podcast takes off, we'll get Parker in, I guess.
yeah. Oh, Parker would love that. He's such a great lad. And then I am also doing some tour planning for a band called Atticus Chimps, who are
Yep.
a rock band from the Gold Coast.
Yep.
They're a duo, but they're like creating some incredible stuff. They've got a single coming out next week.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's lots happening.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Lots happening, and we're talking about a festival at the moment, but
Yeah.
it is very fresh news, so
Yeah.
knock on wood that it's all going to go ahead.
So how does that workflow looks like for you? So I guess because commonly
Yeah.
people who has no idea about music business, who has no idea about how a management company
Yeah.
does things. So could you give us a rundown of like what that process looks like?
Okay, so mine's a little bit different to the traditional management practice. So most of the time, a manager would take 20%.
Right.
However, I've noticed that it is almost impossible for a manager to make any money for the first 3 to 10 years, depending on your artist and where they
Right.
go. So what I've done is I've created a business that invests into the music career. So the artists are actually paying me an hourly rate. and we work out, how many hours a week they need. And then that's the time that I invest. Usually I go over it anyway because, that's
Passion.
it's
You
what
know what I
you
mean?
do.
This is passion, man.
If something's happening and they've got momentum, we
Yeah.
want to invest into that because it's going to benefit me in the long run anyway.
sure.
But it just helps the artist put in, I guess, a bit of accountability. So we're holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
We go through a weekly meeting where we sit one-on-one,
Yeah.
go through what we need each week.
Yep.
And from that, we work together, and they can be like, hey, have you done this yet? And I can be like, have you done this yet? And it's great because
Yeah.
they're getting results.
Yeah.
They're seeing these results, and I've already had Ollie and Parker re-sign with me.
Right.
So
Congrats.
thank you. So yeah, we're on 6-month contracts now.
Yeah.
We did 12 weeks to start, and
Yeah.
now those two are on 6-month, and Albie's
Yeah.
on 6-month,
Yeah.
and everyone's seeing results, and it builds this community. And all my artists are now collaborating and working together on different projects, using their skills outside of their artist skills to invest into each other. And
Yeah.
it's great because connection, that's what it's all about. It's building connections within the music industry, within the creative sphere, and that they're the connections that are going to take you to that next level.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to ask you about,
Yeah.
because it sounds like from what we've talked about before you even came in to record a podcast today, it sounds like the music industry is all about who you know.
Yeah.
And how did you find your current clients, and then, how important are connections in the industry?
Yeah, it's like every client of mine, we have a really cool origin story. So I won't go into all of them, but I'll tell you about Albie. So Albie's story is a little bit different. So she actually is a videographer by trade. She does a lot of music videos for larger Australian acts like Jaguar Jones and Renee LaFleur and all of those guys. So they're touring musicians, and she's been doing their videos for years. She actually was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 24, 25. I'm not sure exactly how old, but yeah, it was around that time. And she and her uncle decided to do a fundraiser for her medical treatment called Bangers for Boobies.
Yeah. I was there.
Oh, yeah, you were there, yeah.
I was there.
Yep, Ju was my assistant stage manager.
That's right.
So I was volunteering my time as stage manager and just helping them kind of organize this festival to raise money. And so she basically, we kind of built a friendship over, supporting her through that treatment, and we became friends. And when she told me that she wanted to do music, I already knew that it was going to be great because she had the passion and she is a visual creative.
Yeah.
So when we went into that, I'm like, I know this music is going to be visual. I know it's going to be fun because that's her personality. And so when we started working together and she showed me the track, I'm like, that's it. We're done. We're working together. And that's kind of how we started working together. And Parker's another story. But we all have these different, I guess, meet cutes. And I think that's it's really cool because, it's just being aware who you're meeting. You never know who you're going to meet in each room. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you're sitting here is a connection.
For sure,
Yeah. And then for us, producing a podcast is something that we both never really thought of in this space. And then we started doing that. So I guess for students to really realize that the connections around you is what you can use and you can actually build on to actually, make a literal experience for yourself and even portfolios. So
100%.
100%. So I love the story with Albie. I think that's something that is quite unique for her, isn't it? So I guess starting from that, I guess what everybody would think that it would be, a really dire situation, but it comes to a really positive outlook that it has actually birthed a career.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really positive way to look at things like that. So That's awesome. So I guess like connection. I want to talk more about the connection itself.
Okay.
So connection is a business, music business, and I guess that's something like to create a business is something that not many people have experience of. So, because I want to really dive into like the vision for connection and how you want to impact the community around you. So
Yeah.
obviously, like you're dealing with artists, but maybe something along the line of that you want to go global. You want to go manage certain amount of artists. Is there something goals that you're chasing for?
Yeah, like I mean, I every year I sit down and I write goals for myself, but this year was a little bit different because I'm like, I need to write goals for my company.
Yeah.
And I think some of those were like, hiring someone who is just as passionate as me, maybe a little less experienced, who wants to get into the management side of things
Yeah.
to kind of shadow me so that we can build this. And there's opportunity for this to potentially become a record label here in Australia. And at the moment, it's just artist services,
Yeah.
and I'm happy running with that
Yeah.
because it opens up the doors for so many other activities.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually technically haven't even launched this company yet.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we're talking about this because
Yeah,
like I'm still waiting for the branding to be done and the
Yeah.
website to be built,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we're going to do a proper launch.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
launching the company is probably the number one goal.
Good call.
But like it's cool because like we kind of did a
Yeah.
bit of a soft launch
Yeah, yeah.
last
Yeah.
year, because I finished my time with the Gold Coast Music Network. The week after, I was going to Big Sound Conference, which is it's a big music conference in Brisbane each year, and they have a festival at night. So I was going there, and I didn't want to waste the opportunity. You're in the room with so many people. You've got press around. You've got all these opportunities to talk about what you're doing in the industry, and I didn't want to go there and just be like, yeah, I just finished my role. Still figuring out what I'm going
Yeah,
into
yeah.
next. So I'm like, you know what? Stuff it. I'm just going to soft launch this thing. And
Yeah.
from that, it's been really good because I started building New Zealand connections. I got some press and media and vodcast interviews, if that's what you call them these days. Yeah, I don't know. All the terms have changed since I was doing this. But
Hey,
yeah.
adaptability.
Yeah,
Adaptability.
exactly. So it was cool because like I started getting the name out there before I even started the company.
Yeah.
And then within a week I had signed my first artist, who was Parker. A week later I got Ollie on board, and then Albie joined. So it was really
Nice.
cool because it was like such an organic start to the company that it was like these doors just kept opening. I'm like, "Ugh, well, I better walk through them. It'd be so stupid for me to see these opportunities and be like, oh wait, I haven't launched yet. You need to wait till next year.
Yeah.
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 So if you have the opportunity, take it. And now I've completely replaced my income from my last job. So it's been wild to see all this happen within 3 months. So it's
And much more to come as well. So
yeah,
Kirsty
exactly.
is looking for people.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Hey, students, if you have passion for music and you know what you want,
yeah. Hit me up. Slide into my DMs.
yeah, awesome.
yeah, I have a question. I
Yeah.
am not familiar at all with the music industry, and
Okay.
not just yourself, but a lot of musicians. You keep hearing this and that signed with a record label and things like that. What does that mean?
Okay.
Like you sign with a record label and
Yeah.
you have to record a certain number of tracks. How does that work?
So every label has different deals as well. So I mean, you just need to read the contract that you're signing, really. So I feel like a lot of labels are moving towards the release cycle. So they might sign you for 3-4 tracks, or they might do an advance signing where they give you, this much money up front, and then you roll with that. It depends on the deal though. So there's some old deals that we were learning about when I was in uni, which was like the 360 deals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But these days, I'm finding that when I'm talking to artists just in general in the industry, they've been approached by labels. They've been offered more like 6-track deals or stuff like that, where, I think the industry is evolving to see that, it needs to be a balance between creative control for the artists and affordability, because the artists don't want to give up their music for free anymore. They don't want to be working for free anymore. So it's just, it's a bit different to what it was like 10 years ago when I first started in the industry, but it's really cool to see that, labels are actually open to evolving now.
Yeah.
So, some people say never sign with a label, but you know what? 20% of nothing is still nothing. So, if you're paying for your own music, and you're investing all this money into releasing a track, and you get offered a deal for distribution, which might send it, internationally, pick up playlists that you can't on your own, maybe it's worth it. So it's, looking at those options and then getting a lawyer to look over the contract.
Yeah. And for sure, I think there's those are skills, just to read over contract and then know what you want and know what these words and terms mean for you, and knowing what's the right step for you. And that kind of exists in every business, every jobs that we all would go for. And music industry is kind of a little bit different because it's, as you said, like there's a creative control and there's a business side to it that you have to kind of manage yourself. And you gotta also negotiate, you gotta also know what you're worth, and that's a fine balance of determining that by yourself and communicating that. And that takes a lot of like skills to do that. So I guess that process is something that I really want to unpack and see how you view that situation of, like what's the process of communicating with the artist with these factors to think about. So do you use certain metrics to really determine that? And when you talk about business with the artist, like what do you actually communicate with them?
Yeah, so I think every artist is different. Everyone I work with is in different career stages. So like, for example, Parker, he's got a fair few releases under his belt. He also has a label in the States who help with distribution. And, that is a little bit different. So, when he's doing collaborations, everything needs to be signed off by a lawyer, and making sure that everything is above board and it's all going through the right pathways. With Albie, for example, this is her first release. Like, she hasn't released music before. She works with her uncle, so it's basically a 50-50 split, which makes it easy because it's kind of like they negotiate the deal, they sign an agreement together, and we're good to go. And we're doing it ourselves. So it's, we're doing it independently. We have control over radio servicing. We have control over playlisting. And I'm doing all the PR for them. So it makes it easy because, we have control over everything there. When you're working with more people, there's more fingers in the pie, and it's kind of like, working out what role is what and who's doing what. So every artist is different, every deal can be different, and knowing your negotiation power is so important, because if you're getting chased by labels, if you're getting chased by managers, if you're getting chased by anyone who wants something from you, you should take that as an opportunity to realize that, okay, I've got something special here. Am I getting compensated properly for what I have created and who I am as an artist and the brand I have built?
Right here. I see the angle. No, that's great. That's great advice. because you can apply that to anything.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I really agree with you in that sense. So yeah, so I guess coming from my personal experience with contracts and just knowing your value, that actually exists in graduates a lot. So
Great.
in terms of like looking for a next opportunity,
Yeah.
like you also have to really negotiate and actually know what you want to do, but also understand that what you want to do probably might require some extra steps.
Yeah.
So looking
Yeah.
we're working towards something that you probably have to work those steps 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to a 6 that what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Really critical. So I've been in retail industry for 10 years before coming back to study, and that's something that I noticed also is you go into a retail shop that deals with clothes, you gotta know how to fold the clothes
Yeah.
before dealing with numbers.
Yeah.
Right. It's not logical to go, I'm going to deal with numbers, but I'm not going to fold clothes. So that's a logical step. So if you want to get to managing a portfolio of $10,000, you need to manage $500 in your personal savings.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a step of even artists. Same thing is that's the way I'm viewing that process is. You got to learn how to manage stress. I'm guessing
Yeah.
stress to survive and survive with. How can I actually think of these ideas, that creative process. And that creative process is actually a huge process and huge pressure. So, I just want to really emphasize that. And, for those of you who are listening is that take this as a lesson, and hopefully that you will actually, for your next step on your career, you can make a smarter decision.
Yeah, and I think with managing artists as well, it's not just your own stress that you're looking after, and this could be applicable for anyone in business. If you're leading a team, if you're a manager of a company, CEO, whatever your role is, if you're working with people underneath you and you're responsible for those people, you're not just managing your own stress, you're managing your team's stress as well. So making sure that you're aware that everyone is mentally healthy and available to take on the roles that they need to take on is so important, or you're both not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I guess to me, I think that's really what I wanted to really bring you here, because from the person that I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
And seeing you really take on this startup that is really blowing up. I think that's really an amazing story for a lot. Yeah, of course. For everybody who's listening, also is that's something that is rare, and that's something that you have to really work towards. So I guess that's something that I want to ask for every guest that we have is what was your struggle? What were your challenges? What was the 3 key milestones for you that has got you stronger?
Yeah.
And that has got you to the way you are right now.
Yeah, I think the crossroads between finishing a full-time role and being do I have what it takes to go out on my own? I think that was probably the pivotal moment where it's now is the opportunity to take this. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it now, or I'm going to be in a job, probably a job that I love, because, I've been in the industry for a long time, and, it's easy to, when you've been in an industry for so long, to just fall into the full-time kind of 9 to 5, and, I'd probably still love it.
Yeah.
But, I had this opportunity and I had people approaching me. I'm okay, how can I make the most of this? And I think sitting with myself in that time where it was something that I've loved for so long is ending, and I have this opportunity to create something similar but my own and build a community. And for me, I love that I can be a light, and I can bring some hope, and I can bring some joy into an industry as dark as the music industry. And, there is I guess, an association with, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever. But, it doesn't have to be that way. And I think we've moved on from that. I think we've developed and grown as an industry from that. And, being a part of something like that is so positive and helping artists find their way and find their path that is sustainable as a career path, but also helping them find who they are as an artist, which doesn't necessarily have to be caving to peer pressure. That has been a defining moment for me to be like, no, I want to be a positive impact in this industry, and being a woman in the industry as well, because as a young woman in the industry, there was times where I'd be the youngest in the room of like these old men, grey hair, and your voice isn't necessarily heard. You need to be very forward in what you say, and I guess make yourself heard when need be. So like even just having a role in rooms now, and being a female voice and introducing new female voices to the industry and to the table has been, a bit of a driving factor for me in the industry.
Yeah, very empowering.
Thank you.
So I guess like what I really love about those empowerment, that being a light. I love how you talked about being a positive influence in the industry. That's something that not many people really think about. And we would think that we'll go into a job and then we won't actually make money. We'll survive, right? And that's a really good take on going into the next role, is how do you actually make a positive impact? Is that the value that I want to chase? Is that the value that I want to be associated with? And that's something that students can decide. How do you want to create value? And then making a positive impact is one way. So how do you want to make a positive impact? And that's also another question, another discussion point. That's awesome. So I really appreciate, just to close, I really appreciate Kirsty's time and being with us, and actually us to pick your brains about the startups, because I think that's a really good discussion to have on what that's like, and how you can actually grow to become a startup owner. And your personal stories is what actually some people who's listening could resonate with, and they might be at a crossroad just like yourself, who is dealing with a lot of work, but trying to find the next step. And I think is a really good way of knowing with the person that is literally walking right now and have walked the road to where you are now, where it's thriving. So that's amazing, and I really appreciate your time,
thanks.
Answering questions, and just spending time with us, even making the time with us. And I think that's really that's a lesson for you guys.
and of course your journey, we're talking about the music industry, but a lot of the things you've mentioned apply to any other industry, and the principles behind running your company, and how you've learned from your past experiences, what your degree is, where that played part in your professional career. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate the time.
So last thing is, hey, this is the time to promote your company.
Okay.
The time to promote your artists. And anything that you think is you want to talk about, please.
Yeah, okay. You can find us on Instagram at Connection with a K, so KONNECTIONAA, as in artist assistants. And you can find all my artists on there. So we've got Albie, we've got Parker, we've got Ollie Toohill, we've got Atticus Chimps, and we're talking to other artists at the moment as well. So come check us out, and website will be done soon, I promise.
Great. It's a good thing to look out for. We will probably put her details in a caption wherever it's available, and tag her in it. So if you do want to reach out to her for whatever reason, you can do that. So with the details that we give you. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.